This message is for people that support J.D. Vance, Project 2025, union workers, anyone with a hourly paycheck, anyone that's a worker and has workers' rights. And those people only. The rest can, go celebrate the weekend. Weekend that was brought to you by laborers' unions. And a weekend that was brought to you by laborers' unions. And the many other things that people take for granted that came from unions, like things like paid vacation, sick leave, social security, minimum wage, civil rights protections, child labor laws, workplace safety standards, employer health insurance. What would life be like with less or none of those things? Project 2025 says, hold my beer. Project 2025 seeks to erode or eliminate unions. Even if you're not part of a union, this is going to affect your wages and your rights. So listen up, let's get into it. Under each entry, the page number is referenced. Feel free to look it up yourself. When the Heritage Foundation in Project 2025 Day 1 seeks to turn the federal government topsy-turvy, here's what's going to happen. We're going to fire civil service workers and replace them with Trump anti-union loyalists. Furthermore, it's going to set to let bosses eliminate unions mid-contract. Let companies stop paying overtime and allow states to opt out of federal overtime and minimum wage laws. You know how minimum wage hasn't gone up in forever? Project 2025 says, hold my beer, we can go lower. Also, Project 2025 wants to eliminate child labor protections. On page 599, it specifically references legislation that J.D. Vance has already drawn up and has waiting to go. More on that later. Legislation that would allow employers to create their own sham company-run unions. You can't distance yourself from Project 2025 when you're fucking in it. Moving on. Project 2025 lets corporations union bust in secret. No more of that pesky union busting on the picket lines with Pinkertons. You could just let big corporations secretly hire union busting consultants to provide behind-the-scenes help in manipulating and scaring workers who try to organize a union. Hey, privatize union busting. That's an ongoing thing in Project 2025. That checks out. Project 2025 seeks to make it illegal for employers to voluntarily recognize unions. Even further still, it's going to let employers retaliate against union organizers, make it easier for corporations to discipline or even fire workers for engaging in collective action or organizing. Here's where they go over the direct connection of J.D. Vance and Project 2025, by letting employers create their own sham company unions. Basically, J.D. Vance's proposal would let employers sidestep national labor laws by creating their own phony employee organizations with fake employees, committees handpicked by the management. And you thought your union rep was bad. Just wait. Now then, let's get in something that affects everybody. Workers' rights. Ban labor unions. Period. Project 2025 would allow states to obtain waivers from the federal labor laws that protect workers' paychecks and the right to join a union, putting American wages and benefits for a race to the bottom. Project 2025 would create loopholes that allow businesses to put workers' safety at risk. Project 2025 would let small businesses violate the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, or OSHA's worker safety laws, without punishment, no matter what unalivings or injuries were caused by their negligence or recklessness. Let's check up on little Jimmy. Eliminate child labor protections. This would allow teenagers to work in mines, meatpacking plants, and dangerous workplaces. One thing not specifically mentioned by the AFL-CIO I thought I'd bring up. Elimination of Job Corps, but I'm going to let my friend Uncle Dranger, who works there, get into that. I will say, however, that Jobs Corps is a pipeline of union workers into the trades specifically. Now then, on to J.D. Vance. The J.D. Vance, who in Project 2025's legislation is specifically referenced on page 599. Legislation specifically written by this man, James Braid, Deputy Chief of Staff and Legislative Director for J.D. Vance. Formerly a lobbyist at the Heritage Foundation and staffer for Russell Vought. And per Politico, the James Braid that was found in the Project 2025 New Recruits training videos.
I'm joined by my friend and former colleague, James Braid.
Hi, I'm James. I've worked in various senior roles on Capitol Hill. I worked with Hugh in the administration and legislative affairs at the Office of Management and Budget, specifically handling appropriations. Currently, I serve as the legislative director for Senator J.D. Vance.
And we're here.
So to wrap this up and put a bow on it, at the request and approval of J.D. Vance, James Braid wrote anti-union legislation specifically referenced in Project 2025. So if you support J.D. Vance, no coffee for you. Coffee breaks are from unions. Coffees are for closers and not fucking turnips.